Almost there. Live on YouTube. So I'm going to start the recording, John, then we can start. No, let me share my screen first.
We can start.
Hold on. On the right screen. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now let me start the recording again. Where did it go? Resume recording. Okay, John, we're
Got
ready.
it. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the June Guam Board of Accountancy board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Before we begin, Dave, just want to reconfirm that this meeting was properly noticed.
Sure, the two notices.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Dave. So first item on the agenda, we'll just go ahead. Present our board members, Taling Taitano, Jenny Chu, and myself, John Onadera. I'm not sure if anyone else is here. And then Executive Director Dave Sanford. Did we have a guest or did the guest leave?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
He's still on screen or not. I don't see him. But,
Okay. So we'll go ahead and begin. And so the first item on the agenda will be the approval of last meeting's minutes, which was April. There was no meeting in May. So please take some time to review the minutes.
Move to approve subject to correction.
Okay,
Seconded.
seconded by Jenny. Thank you. I didn't see anything.
nope, nothing extraordinary there.
Right, okay. So Dave, would you
Okay.
move on to what old business?
Yeah, which is the Guam Accountancy Endowment Fund. Excuse me. Basically the results are like we said, we've kind of been hanging in there going up and down, but for the last 2 weeks, since the end of May, somehow the market went up another 180,000 for us. So I'm not complaining. But basically, we're still at the mercy of the market. I've got 2 months worth of statements here. In April, in the month of May, we started off with 4.44 million and wound up with 4.41 million. But then again, it's gone up to another 180 since then. So, but year to date, we were showing a 5.55% return, which is close to the 6% that our investment plan targets. So I think we're doing okay in that respect. The one thing you can tell is down here in the back, we've paid a year to date 22,000, roughly 22,000 in fees.
2,000.
Yeah, for the current calendar year. This is a calendar year basis. And then our summary of realized gains and losses is actually a net gain of 41,000 long-term net gain. So all of the other market fluctuation is the gain and the losses so far have been unrealized. So, but we're still holding at the as of June the 16th, 4.5 million, almost 4.6 million. But 180,000 in 2 weeks, who knows what it's going to do in the next 2 weeks.
Wow, yeah. 2 weeks.
That's just one of those things. But we did have this is all of the statements here for March and April and May, from the end of March to the end of May. We did, though, finally receive the 250,000 from the Bank of Hawaii TCD. That matured, and we've deposited the money now, so we're holding that, and we can contribute that anytime the board's ready to do so.
Okay.
I have no idea when's a good time, or for me, I guess anytime's a good time, considering the way the market goes today. Or we can wait and see if it's going to dip. I don't know if it's going to make that much difference. We can make the contribution to the fund, and they can determine when's best time to invest it, I guess. It's not really up to us. Not my field anyway.
Maybe we can wait for the new dean to be. I guess there's
Okay.
supposed to be a new dean, right?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I've been gone a month, and I haven't heard anything about new dean yet. Just that they were still searching.
Okay.
I know that they had interviews with the candidates for the new president, but I haven't heard anything about that either. So, in terms of what's actually going to happen, so don't know if anybody else has.
No, I haven't heard.
Okay. They haven't had any meeting of the advisory council either, right?
No, not since the last. No, not recently.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we're
Okay.
kind of holding steady there. I'm expecting that we'll get a bill to pay for Billy's participation in the master's degree cohort for the summer program. He did one course, I believe. But that's it at this point. Until we, get a dean and determine what we can do going forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Dave, what you have next is the applications for
Right.
licenses
Sure.
and certifications.
Licenses. Yeah. Yeah. We've got one person from Guam here. William or Bill.
I thought there
Chung.
wasn't there two? Salalila?
Yeah,
That's
two.
the first one here. The other one is down here, number 15. Salalila June.
Yeah,
Patrick.
June.
Yeah.
Currently with EY. Okay.
Right. Imagine that.
But the other person was with us and then he left. So
Yeah. Where did he go?
I'm not sure. He wanted to do something else.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've 76 new licensees.
Dave, do we keep statistics by country, by residency?
No, we it's kind of hard to do because we have some data, but we only really have the data for the last known address, so we could analyze that. But country wise, well, I've never looked at it individually because we have some country codes and some we don't. I guess we could try and take a look at it. I don't know how clean the data is. Because I know that on a lot of them we don't get country codes. We'd have to search it out, but we could.
It's just curious because they seem to be from all over the place.
They are, and but I think the majority of them nowadays are either Asian, Japanese mainly. And Taiwanese, or the farther you go into east, then you're looking most Indian, from India, a good many. But then the Middle East, it's hard to tell. They're from various places in the Middle East. So, but we could count the Middle East as one category. But then again, we have people from Germany, and I just got an email the other day from a person that's in New Hampshire and
New Hampshire.
saying that New Hampshire now has a social security number requirement, so they can't renew their license there because they don't have social security numbers, so they want to come to us.
Hmm.
So,
Do you need a
But-
motion to approve?
Yes.
yes, we do.
So moved.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Second by
Didn't have
Jenny.
any-
Okay.
we didn't have any problems with these, so. Okay, we move along. We have some requests for extensions, and John, you were going to go to the Western Region meeting,
Yeah.
but looks like you're not going. So I
No,
attended. I attended the Eastern Region. So
yeah, what did I say? This is day 29, no power.
Yeah.
Actually, I got power this afternoon, so
did you?
yeah, but my mother-in-law doesn't have power, my mother doesn't have power, so I
Still
still got
really?
I still got to do the generator duties, turn it on, turn it off, get the gas, charge the
yeah.
batteries.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, David, our house, I think Agania Heights didn't get power for until about late last week. Friday or Saturday, I think, is when he finally got power to our house in Agania Heights. So,
I just got mine yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Did you?
Okay.
yeah.
But two of my ACs aren't working, the splits, so
Oh, well, don't get me started. We spent several thousand fixing the ACs at the office. Two of them were blown out. And thank God the ones at the house are working, but one in my house, one at David's house, not working. So I have to fix that too. But
everybody's busy.
oh yeah. Well, it's difficult to find anybody to work on. On one of the air cons at the building is still out because we're looking for a part. We have to find a part, and
Yeah.
shipping and everything else is a problem. So yeah. So, but I was going to say I attended the Eastern Region meeting, and I'm in Florida now, at my sister's house. But at the Eastern Region, we had a lot of discussion about the 24 months versus the 30-month extension thing. And why is it, why is it recommended the way it is? Well, I'm part of the CBT admin committee, and in that committee, we made the committee decision to recommend ultimately the 30 months to go with it, since number one, NASBA had already, publicized it. But what we came up with was the fact that as of January 24, anybody who has credit on January 1st, 24 for a part they've already passed is going to be extended through June 30th of 2025. So that's 18 months. And if you take the people that had tested in July of 22, they're essentially getting 36 months. If they tested toward the end of July, they're in January 24, they're going to be extended another 18 months. So those people are getting 36 months. And we were looking, I know as a board, we discussed the 24 months previously, which was kind of what the recommendation was, and then it got pumped to 30. But we figured that, from CBT admin committee standpoint, is that since you've taken these people that had 18 months and now they're getting another 18 months, and anybody testing in 23 would wind up getting the 30 months, 18 and 12. We figured that if we looked at it from the standpoint that if we went ahead and said 30 months, starting in the July, then essentially we're starting with January of 23 and going out to June of 2025. That kind of gives everybody the opportunity to, from a jurisdiction standpoint, to get on board. And hopefully get, some people can change their rules quickly, 2 or 3 months. Other people, it takes them 2 years. So they're saying, if we go the 30-month route, then we're giving everybody a chance from a jurisdiction standpoint to extend their credit period to pass the exam up to 30 months by the June 30th of 2025. And part of that recommendation, which is what you would see at the Western Region meeting, is that in the committee recommendation, we said make it 30 months, but give the executive director the discretion for a 12 months discretion to extend anybody who requests, along the way, because they're thinking that last 12 months from June of 24 to June of 25, you're going to have people that are in that range that could be expiring from before, but might need the extra extension based on some of the events that have occurred. So because people can't make a rule change fast enough, they said give the executive director the delegate the authority to actually have the executive director make a decision to extend people that requested it. We didn't want to do it on a blanket basis, but we figured if somebody's requesting it and they know that eventually they're going to get to the 30 months, but in the meantime, the board can't make the rule change fast enough, then you give the executive director the discretion to do it, because almost all boards have some provision in their law that gives the board the discretion to make the extension based on whatever circumstances it comes up with. That's kind of where that recommendation came from. It's a little easier to see. I have a thing with a timeline that I can send everybody. That's a
Probably
little
better.
easier to see. But the bottom line from the Eastern Region meeting and the executive director calls I've been on, we don't have, I haven't come across any jurisdiction yet that says, no, we're not going to do 30 months. We're going to stick with 24, except for one that said they wanted to do 36. So I think 36 kind of pushing it, but then the question came up about substantial equivalency and all that stuff. But it was noted that substantial equivalency, the time allotted for passing the exam is not something that enters into the consideration of substantial equivalency, so it really wouldn't matter in that sense. But then the reason I bring all this up is it's coming up in the meeting, and we're ultimately going to need to decide, do we want to do 24 or 30? And I think from my perspective, I think that there's no reason not to go with the flow in that sense. I think probably by the time June 30th, 2025 rolls around, everybody will have gotten to the 30 months in terms of their law or rules. I haven't seen any jurisdiction that's basically said they're not going to. So, anyway, the reason I bring that up is in relation to some of these extension requests. If we're looking at giving people 24 or 36 months as of, say, January 24 or 23, however we do it, then some of these should merit some level of consideration in that regard, because we're stuck with 18 months. And we know that this 36 months that the people that tested from July of 22 forward are going to get 36 months. So in that sense, these are people that are kind of on the cusp, if you will. So I thought it was worth looking at some of them. The first one is the guy who's asking for his audit extension. And, he had a medical issue. He's requesting to August 31st. I have no problem with that. The second one is, again, a medical issue, and they're pretty well documented. So I have no problem with that one to August 31st, too. The third one is a guy who had COVID and, another issue. So they want to go to August 31st. That's okay. The fourth one was a person whose father had a real problem, cancer and surgery, and he spent his time taking care of him. And he only wanted the extension through May, so we're fine with that. The next one, the last one on this page is again diagnosed with a medical problem, and he's asking for an extension up to July, which again we have no problem with. So all of these are pretty well documented medical issues. Then we have here Fei Wang, who he lost his credit due to COVID restrictions, and he's asking to go through May again. Also, his score expired in June 30th, but he was having problems, mostly with the travel restrictions and stuff like that. It's Chinese, and he couldn't actually go anywhere to take the exam. And then when they finally said, "Okay, you can travel, but you got to pay the 3 weeks of quarantine when you come back, plus 1 week at home," they said that the issue was if he actually came to take the exam when he went back home, he wouldn't have a job because of the four weeks of quarantine that this company would have let him go. So,
wow.
I couldn't afford to, so he's asking for the extension through May to take the exam score. So I don't have a problem with that. The last one is the one that is kind of iffy. So he's saying that essentially he passed the exam in 21, and the last exam pass was in December 22. But he's saying that he waited to get licensed, but no, that's not right. He passed all 4 parts of the exam in 2020 and 2021. Before the 150-hour requirement went into effect. And then he just didn't bother to get licensed, to apply for licensing, because he wasn't aware of the law change. And but then since he came to apply for licensing, and we told him that you didn't meet the 150-hour requirement. And he's saying, well, I wasn't aware that I needed 150 hours because I passed before the law change took effect. So the real question is, do we want to give him the discretion of allowing him to apply under the less than 150 hours rule that was in place when he passed the exam? Or do we want to hold him to the 150-hour requirement because he's applying now, even though he passed the exam under the rule that he could get licensed with less than 150 hours and 2 years of experience? So, and my initial reaction was to say, no, you need 150 hours. But then when we discussed this 30-month, 36-month, 24-month extension stuff, it kind of begs the issue in that sense.
Was there anything holding him back? I mean, or preventing him? Was it just a matter, all he had to do was just complete that application and he would have been fine?
Well, in applying, I don't know if he had enough experience to apply, because our requirement under the previous rule was that you had to have a baccalaureate degree or equivalent, pass the exam, and have 2 years of experience, unless you had a master's degree. So if he had the master's degree, he would have had the 150 hours, no problem, with 1 year. But he passed in 20 and 21, then he'd have to have 2 years of experience. So, but he said he didn't know about the law change, which, I don't know. We sent out notices and put the thing on the
We
website.
did, yeah.
So,
But
and no, I don't think there was anything in particular holding him back, except potentially the experience requirement.
would he have qualified for an inactive license during that time?
He would have qualified for applying for an inactive license without the experience. Yes. So that's kind of where we're in a iffy scenario. We haven't ever had anybody in this scenario before. So.
Yeah, because of the cutoff or the changeover.
Right. Yeah.
So all he needed to do back then was just complete the form for the and apply for the inactive license, and he would have had the license.
He would have had an inactive license, yes. And then once he got the experience, he could apply for he could apply to change it to an active license.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, the board has the discretion to make a decision to do what it wants to do. So.
Oh, what does the board, I guess the other two board members, what do you think?
So he's a year late? Is that what it is?
Basically, if he had applied before December 16th, 2021, then he would have been okay. So he's a little more than a year late, yes.
If he had applied when he should have, how many years would he already be a CPA? Three?
If he had applied when he passed in 2021, before the December 16th time, he could have gotten an inactive license in 21. So it would have been almost 2 years, year and a half.
Well, I'm, my kind of thought is if we do agree that we ask him to pay the back fees.
Fees, we could do that.
Back fees. Okay. I mean, for me, I think, it's, he did pass it before, so I'm inclined to I guess allow him to get an inactive license and pay the fee, as Tolling suggested. I mean, because it's easier to justify it because he did pass and it was just a matter of submitting a form to get an inactive license, and he still needs to get years of experience to get an active license. So
right. And under that rule, he would have to submit 2 years of experience. So,
yeah.
Which he probably could complete by the end of this year, if not already.
Yeah, I don't know if there's more out there like him, but at least if there are, I mean, it will be a clear,
Yeah.
I guess a precedent.
Precedent, yeah. But we haven't had anybody else raise the issue. So.
But what's his reasoning for all of a sudden wanting to apply now? If you didn't do it back then? Oh,
don't know. Just that he, is to the point where I guess I don't know if he was waiting to get experience or what per se. But
I mean, that was, when you think about it, that was 2020, late 2020 or mid, and then 2021, it was still COVID. Who knows what he was doing, what he was thinking, whether life was going to go on.
Right.
I mean,
Never know. There are a lot of people that weren't sure what they were going to do at that point in time. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I'm thinking if we agree that, you know, he has to pay all the back as if he had applied previously.
before the change,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I
So
agree with-
basically one extra year then.
right? Yeah, it
And
could
it's not gonna break the bank, right? It's not that.
No, it shouldn't. It's an application fee, and then they add a year, and now's the renewal time, so it's the application fee plus the 2-year renewal fees.
Yeah.
And if he submits his experience, 2 years of experience, then he's good to go as an active license. So,
Auto requests.
so we'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. I think he'll be a happy camper.
Does he also
Okay.
have to prove he has the CPEs?
Well,
Or does that apply to
once he becomes an active licensee,
okay,
yeah. So he would have to make the application, submit his 2 years of experience if he wants to be active. And once he becomes active, then he's responsible for doing CPE. So
You don't know if he's applying right now for an active or an inactive. We haven't gotten there yet.
No, he's just asking because we told him he didn't qualify. So, you know.
Okay.
But we'll get there. So.
Yep. Got it.
Okay. So we're good with that?
Mhm.
Okay, no more questions. Okay. Okay, we can move on to, let's see. This is the fee letter. Oh, well, I gotta go through this documentation stuff. It's a lot of it here. Okay, this is Pat's fee letter.
He's describing. Okay.
This one.
130.
Okay, this is the NASMA. This is Pat's letter relative to the new fees for the 2024 exam. I just put it in so everybody would notice, but it's going to wind up being $254.80 per section. And this is going to start because of the gateway issues. We're down here on the all other boards 6-month NTS. So as of August 5th, 2023, they're going to start charging the new fees because those authorizations to test will be relative to carrying into the 2024. And they have to do the balancing, the cutoff thing about when they do it. So they'll start charging those fees for us as of August. So I'm going to post this in the fee notice that I put on the website so everybody will know, but that's going to be the newest fees. And this is for
this is the applicants pay for that?
Right, yeah. Yeah, this is the actual exam fees that they pay. So they pay the application fee and then they get once they're approved to sit, then they have to apply for an authorization to test. They get that and then they get the notice to schedule. So, so these are the fees per part for actually taking the exam.
Dave, how did they get the 250? I mean, just looking at the fees that were listed, I guess.
Oh, okay, here it's here.
How did they get the 254? Yeah.
It's 4 hours. 4
Yeah,
hours.
it's 4
that's all.
hours. The AICPA gets $130. NASWA gets 30, and Prometric gets the 22 per hour. So that's
Well,
like
per hour.
88.24, and then the security fee is the 656. So that's 94.80.
Okay, per hour.
So yeah, it's per hour. Yeah. And Prometric gets a cost of living fee increase every other year or so, like 3 or 4%, something like that. But these are the actual fees to sit for the exam per section. So, but this covers the standard sections, you know, audit, FAR, and reg. And then what they're saying is that the fees, I think here it says here, audit, BEC, reg, and FAR will change in accordance with the implementation plan. The fees for the new bar information systems and controls in the TCP discipline sections will be charged when the transition to accepting ATTs occurs, which is going to be anticipated to be November, i.e. that's when they will issue the first authorizations to test for those individual disciplines. Because they're still issuing the BEC up through the November 22 cutoff, and you can take BEC up to December 15th. So that'll be the last day, and then BEC goes away. So as of November 22, they'll be charging fees for the new disciplines, and now I don't know what those fees are yet. So we won't know those for another few months, I guess. So at least I don't think it's going to be the same. It may be the same as these other sections because they are going to be 4 hours. So it's probably going to be the same 254.80 for one of the disciplines. So, but they
Is there
won't start
another
charging.
cost to sit in the Guam test center to this?
Well, if you sit anywhere outside of the United States, really the domestic United States, there's a surcharge. I forget what they call it, but it's an international surcharge. So if you sit anywhere in Japan or Korea or Guam or Germany or Brazil, they add on a surcharge. And frankly, I'm not sure if it's the same for everybody, every location outside of the US, or if it varies by country. I'm not real sure.
Is that the amount that comes to us? No.
Well, no. The amount that comes to us is part of the application fees. And then the people that sit in the test center here, part of that surcharge comes to us, but only for people that are non-Guam residents. If you're a Guam resident, that fee is waived. So,
Okay, got it.
yeah. But so that's what's happening with the fees. So, it's a little more than before, but not that bad. Not as bad as some people thought it might be.
Well, it's officially over $1,000 now to sit for the exam.
Yep, sure is. That's just the exam fee.
Yep.
So this is the January to March candidate care report, which, as usual, it's getting better. They had 256 total events, so most of which are the scheduling and the site issues with Prometric, over half, so, or almost half. So the
Do you
rest
know
is
if the test center is back open after the typhoon, if there was any substantial damage?
I don't think, I haven't heard from Randy that there was any damage. I'm not sure if they're open yet, based on the power going,
Power
you
and
know,
water, yeah.
up and down, but I haven't heard that. I didn't hear of any damage, you know, any major damage. There's some water damage maybe, but other than that, no. But I don't know if they're open yet. Be
Internet
nice if
was
we,
also a problem initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the internet's still a problem for a lot of people. Most of Agania Heights, there's Docomo's totally out.
Mm.
There's no cable TV and there's no internet if you had Docomo for internet. The only internet working was, as far as I know, was GTA and Pacific Data. So I have Pacific Data at the house. So, but otherwise, I'm not sure Docomo's been out and is still out.
They're still out.
for-
I mean, I have power, but no AC and no internet still.
So you sweat at night, man. So David, his weatherhead was damaged, so he was having the family sleep at our house once the power came on.
Oh, wow. That's okay. You gotta get a
Yeah,
master electrician or certified electrician to fix it, and then you gotta call GPA to come back.
he did. Well, he submitted his paper to GPA, and for 10 days they didn't show up. So we made a few phone calls. They finally showed up just to take out the meter. He couldn't start working to fix it until they took it out, right? So
Yeah.
they have to turn off the power so you can work on it. It waited over 10 days just for him to take it out. Anyway,
Wow.
he finally got it. And I think this past weekend he finally got power back on. Anyway, the candidate care thing is just the usual. Most of the issues were with the prometric scheduling and site issues. Most of which was relative, of course, to the January to March, mostly weather issues more than anything. Okay. Then last thing I have is the financial statement. So we're hanging in there. As of the end of May, we're up to 331,000 total revenues. My extrapolation is that we're going to wind up somewhere between right around 500 to 550 in total revenues, depending on what our licensing fees and the application fees do. But expense wise, we're fine. I don't see an issue there. So at this point, we got 71,000 in excess revenues, and there's some anomaly expenses like the NASBA dues that come due in August. So I'm thinking we're going to be somewhere between 60 and 90,000 in excess revenues for the year. This was April, but you can see here that our exam sections jumped up from 758 to 924, and our total applicants jumped up from 537 to 721. We basically had a 20% increase in applicants and a 22% increase in sections on a year-to-date basis, fiscal year-to-date October to May. And our application fees, of course, in May were up to 19,000. So I think what's happening is that surge that we anticipated would come relative to people trying to finish
Before
the current exam before the new one kicks in. So we'll probably see a little bit more of that, and then I'm pretty sure we're going to see a drop off in January. Maybe December, January is going to start to drop off, because then people are going to have to take the new exam. And when they take it, they're going to wait, 2 months or 3 months to get a score. So it's going to slow things down. But for now, I think we're doing fine, which will run through the end of the fiscal year and into the first part of the next year. I don't see any issues with that. And of course, we've got now we have with the latest TCD maturing, we've got the $1,096,000 in the bank. We can make our contribution to the endowment fund whenever we're ready. Let's see, anybody have any questions?
no, it looks good.
They haven't heard the budget yet, have they? at the legislature?
Not that I know of, no. I just went and had the meeting at Senator Joe's office with his staff. I'm sure they're going to stick us in there for basically on what we put in. Maybe they'll put it in based on what our budget request was. So. But I haven't heard anything about any budget sessions yet. So. They're going to have to do it pretty soon. I think they usually get it done by August, right? Right before the end of the year.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Depends on how much fighting they want to do with the front office.
Yeah. Yeah. Staying out of that as much as possible. That's about all I have, except that the annual meeting is going to be in New York City and sometime in October, late October. So if anybody wants to go to that, be thinking about it. Not sure how many people want to go to New York City anymore. With the current state of affairs between there and San Francisco.
Is it becoming like San Francisco? I mean, because San Francisco, I heard, is really changed.
Yeah, it's pretty bad from what I hear. A couple of people I know that live there are seriously contemplating not living there anymore. Been there for most of their lives. They're not very happy about the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's basically all I have though. So,
Okay, I think that's good.
anybody got any questions or anything? Far away.
So, I tried to register. Well, I ended up registering for the Western Conference. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up to attend, but I registered. And then, I was having difficulties with my password. And then I went to the CPE site thinking the passwords were all the same. And then ended up having to contact them because I couldn't get anyway.
Yeah.
So they're not all connected. I thought they were trying to connect all of them.
They are trying, but they're still not all connected. Supposedly they have some, but they're constant IT issues. So. But
Okay.
yeah, I still have a couple of different passwords.
Yeah, because there's different. I think it's NASBA Nation. I think that's the one
Right. For the registration.
Registration, but I'm not sure if that's the CPE one too as well.
No,
it's not. I found out
it's not.
It's your AICPA, I think.
You would think it would be, but it's not. Yeah.
It's your AICPA. Okay, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they created that one portal for everything, and then when I went, anyway.
Well, they did, but it has some issues. So, yeah, I talked to them a couple of times about that and gave up. So, like all the other IT stuff they have going, they say at the meeting, they said that they're basically on budget and roughly on time with their CPA evolution changes to the gateway and all the rest. But honestly, who knows? I know that there are some jurisdictions that are having some issues with making system changes. And Russ, the guy from Illinois, was saying that it's his state IT people told him it's going to cost him $120,000 just to make changes to accommodate the new gateway data fields. And frankly, from my perspective, the only new data fields are for the three disciplines that didn't exist before. And I don't understand why it could cost you $120,000 to do that, but you know, Lord only knows. He didn't think he understood it either, but he doesn't have much choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I have to say I'm still here in Florida. I'm at my sister's house. Tony's sister is bringing her husband Frank for medical treatment here. We've managed to get him to see the same doctor I saw, as an orthopedic surgeon. I'm gonna have to come back in October for a shoulder surgery, but Frank has been having a problem. He had a knee replacement, and he's been in the hospital 4 times for an infection problem, and they're saying he needs a procedure that they can't do in Guam. So they decided to bring him here. So I'm just here until they come, which is this Friday, and I should be here next week, and then the following week I'll be back to Guam. So we should have a normal July meeting.
Is it in the middle of the night there, or?
Yeah,
Morning?
it's almost 2. It's
Oh.
1:54 in the morning.
Wow.
So
That's right, you're East Coast. Oh my gosh.
yeah. Well, I'm in the central time zone. So, but we flew from. We were in Charlotte visiting our oldest son. We stayed with him for the last 2 weeks. And then we came back here today. We flew back today. We got back late in the afternoon. So figured I'll just stay up and do the meeting. It's easier to do that. It's easier to stay up than it is to get up. So, so we're fine, but we're fine. But Frank's having a lot of problem with his knee. And when we found out he'd been in the hospital 4 times since December, we figured he really needs to get some kind of treatment. They said he needs a 2-step procedure, which involves removing the thing and something, and 4 weeks of antibiotics and putting it back in. I don't know how that works. So we'll find out. But it's one of those things. So Tony's going to stay. I'm going to leave as soon as they get settled, and then she could stay with her sister and help out. So that's kind of why I'm still stuck here.
Okay, well, well,
Okay.
I guess we're almost fully recovered here, somewhat, so.
Yeah, that's the only well, they were teasing me today because we left Guam the week before the typhoon hit. And then we were here in Pensacola, and we went to Charlotte, and 2 days later they had a tornado hit here and knocked down a big tree in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
And this now that I've left Charlotte, they're asking me what's going to happen in Charlotte. So, I don't know. We'll give it a week and see. Who knows? Anyway, so I'll be back, and we should be able to have a normal a regular July meeting. But think about the annual meeting. If anybody wants to go, think about whether you want to go. So we'll probably get an announcement sometime in August or September about applying for the scholarships.
I'm interested, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, me too, Dave, most likely, but as we get closer, I'll be checking the schedule.
Okay.
Okay. You need to
Anybody
go
got
back.
anything else? Well, now I'm awake. Now I'm drinking my coffee. I'll go watch the news till I get sleepy.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay.
Okay, we'll see everybody.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned. Can I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Yeah.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Okay.
Meeting